What's up, besties? I hope you're having an incredible day. So in this video, I'm making a bit of an outfit inspired by this iconic Hedy Lamar look. Absolutely gorgeous. If it were up to me, I would just recreate it, but I would never wear that because I wouldn't have where to wear that, and also it would cost a lot, with the amount of fabric. And yeah, I just decided to do like something inspired by it, and also I don't really wear white, so I did it in black. And I decided to sew a shirt because I have a perfect skirt for it already. If I wanted to be like a skirt, and if I wanted to wear it with pants, I can wear it with pants. And I just need like some small accessories, I guess. But yeah, most importantly, the shirt. And usually when I'm sewing, I just make everything myself. Like I either eyeball it or like I draw out some pattern. But here, when it comes to like clothes, I don't trust myself enough to do this, like to get the body shape right. So I use someone else's pattern, and it's this pattern here. I'm going to leave you the link to it in the description because it's free. And it's a Clara linen peasant blouse tutorial and free pattern by Rima Kusainova from this website here. And yeah, I couldn't get linen. I really wanted to get like black linen, but I went to quite a big fabric store and they didn't have it. And they asked me what I want to make, since to recommend me something else, and I was like, a shirt like this, and they were like, here we got some polyester cotton mix that's going to be good for this, and I was like, yeah, fair enough. I don't like polyester, but like that's what was available, so obviously like linen is more breathable and comfortable, but like fair. So I like just printed out the pattern and taped it up, and it was a bit tragic because I had to roll it for the night, and I didn't have my table, because I don't live alone and someone else made the decision for me to get rid of my table, and it fell apart when I was trying to unroll it, and I had to tape it up again, and it was such an annoying process, and I didn't even print it out properly. I printed it out like slightly too small, and then I was like hand drawing like lines to be like how they're supposed to, but it was fine in the end. And also I had this one issue that this is like targeted towards Americans, and it uses their measurements. And yeah, when it comes to like the sizing chart, I just measured myself and I calculated it, and it turns out I'm below 0 to 2 on this chart, but usually I'm not below. I think this one's just like a bit bigger than usual, but I ended up just picking the 0 to 2 because that's the smallest one. And I made a small change when it comes to like the pattern, which I think changes the look actually a lot, which is the sleeves. I didn't want the sleeves to be like a bit puffed up and then like gathered, and I wanted them to be a bit longer and bigger in general, so I picked a bigger size of the sleeves than I did the overall like shirt part, and I didn't gather them like I was supposed to, so that was a change I made. And here you can see me just cutting out the pieces. I wanted to like do it properly and like transfer my pattern from like a whole pattern sheet into like smaller sheets to just get the right sizing and keep the rest intact. But I just decided it would be simpler to like if I want to use a bigger one, to just print it out again, then tape it up again, then try to do that. So yeah. And the first step in the tutorial is, let's start with the front slits. Bind your slit with contrasting bias tape by following this detailed tutorial here. Like that. Okay, and now I'm stuck because the first step in the tutorial requires me to use a bias tape, and I don't have a bias tape. And I know I can make bias tape, but I want the store-bought one because it's nice and satin always, and I don't have the type of fabric to make that, and I want it to be satin. I don't want it to like be a perfect match to that fabric because I'm not fully satisfied with the fabric. So I went to the store and it was closed. So I went to another one and it was also closed. And I just happened to live in a small town where that's the only two stores that could have them. I also went to like this cheap Chinese stuff store, hoping that maybe they have it, and they don't. But I have a this is a shopping haul just for you guys. And okay, we did it! One more day has passed and I went to the store and it was open. I mean, one of them was open. I've got it. I've got my bias tape and I also have a silver thread. I'm not sure if I'm going to use a thread or maybe I'm going to buy fabric paint. I've been thinking about it on my way back because well, I hate living in such a small town that I start changing my ideas just because I don't have my materials and I need to struggle so much to get them. But I'm not going to have much time for sewing now, so that's great. Like, I finally have all my stuff and now I can't sew because I'm actually in between classes right now. Because I'm having an exam and I should study because I want to pass the exam. Yeah. And the first step in the tutorial is let's start with the front slits. Bind your slit with contrasting bias tape by following this detailed tutorial here. And from that website I chose the second method of doing that, reading it. This method works best with narrow angles and allows you to get a sharp point as opposed to a softer, rounded look. It consists in sewing a pre-made replica of your corner into your binding. You'll be working with two bias tape strips that will meet at the V points. And step number one, first at the center of your binding, fold it in half. Right sides together and press. 2. To determine the angle that you need to sew, lay the fabric to be bound over the folded bias tape as shown in the image below. Make sure that the folded end is visible through the V and the long ends are hidden under the fabric. 3. Using a fabric marker, trace the angle of your V onto your bias tape. This will be your cutting line. Pin the fold to make sure it doesn't shift when you sew. And there's another obstacle on my way because obviously everything that can go wrong has to. Yeah, I did not change anything in the settings of my machine, but it started doing that. And I read online that I have to like change the tension of the bottom thread, and like, how do I do that? Like, I don't get that mechanism. There is nothing to like do down there to change that. And like, I waited for a week to get someone to like come and help me. My grandmother being, because she knows how to sew. And you know what we did? We changed the tension on the top thread. The one where it's easy to do it. And now it magically works, despite the fact that on the previous settings it was also working, but then it stopped. And I don't get what happened there. But yeah, I wasted one more whole week just because of that. So that's awesome. 4. Stitch along your drawn lines, backstitching in place at the edges and then trim closely to the stitch line. Your trimmed corners should be the same angle as your inverted corner to be bound. 5. Finger press the trimmed seam allowances open and unfold your bias tape so that the right sides are now facing outwards. You now have the exact replica of your V-point in bias tape. 6. Trim any excess threads of fabric to get a neat corner. Press it and pin to the fabric by slipping it between the folds of your pre-made piece and matching the V's. 7. Working from the right side, stitch through all layers at once, as close to the bottom edge as possible, removing pins as you go. Pivot the needle when you get to your corners. Stop the machine with the needle still in fabric, pivot your piece and keep stitching. Remember to backstitch at the end. We hope these tips will make your next bias bound project easier. And now we are back in the main tutorial, and step 2, pin and sew the sleeve to the armhole right sides together. In the tutorial, the other sleeves is a separate step, but I just did one after the other, and yeah. 3. Trim the seam allowances down to 1/4 of an inch, 6 millimeters. Insert slash zigzag the raw edges together to prevent the fabrics from fraying. I'm not sure if that's what they meant. I just opened it up and just like zigzagged it like through the thing. I am too lazy to check and also to do more. And I don't have that great of a machine control just yet, so I'm not doing anything complicated for like the insides. I just want it to not fall apart. Six. Pin the sleeve at the underarm and the side seams right sides together. 7. Sew the sleeves and the sides all in one seam at 3/8 of an inch, 1 centimeter seam allowance. Trim the seam allowance down to 1/4 of an inch, 6 millimeters. Insert or zigzag the raw edges together. Press the seams flat, folding the started zigzagged edge to one side. In all honesty, I was lazy here too. I didn't do anything after sewing it together. And at that point I tried it on and I was a bit worried because it's huge. As you can see, I wore a shirt underneath it, a different colored shirt, so you can see, so that I don't flash you like even an accident, because it would not hold up how it's supposed to. And I thought that maybe I took a size that's too big, but it was that one, but it was the smallest one, and yeah, it's going to be okay. It just looks like this. At this moment, it's about to get my size, so yeah. Steps 8 to 10 are about doing the gathered sleeves, but as we've established, I'm not doing that, so I am skipping to step 11. Yeah, gather your neckline the same way you did with the sleeves. So I didn't do the sleeves, but what I did was I just like hand stitched around it and then pulled the thread to like have it in one place, and like I just adjusted the shape and the length, and then made it stay like this. Take your long strip of bias tape, press it in half lengthwise, then find the center of the strip by folding it in half. Pin to the center of back, matching the centers and sandwiching the gathered neckline. And here I actually ended up also hand stitching it, except with two different thread that was like already black and matching it, because I don't trust the pins enough, because you know, I have to take the pins out before running it through the machine. I don't want to break my needle, and I just know it would be falling apart in my hands if I was taking it out, so I only took it out after finishing the thing. Use plenty of pins to make sure a neckline is seated correctly. Again, yeah, I didn't. Make sure the neckline edge is inserted all the way into the crease of the tape, and that the bias tape is not too loose nor too tight. Otherwise, your finished neckline might gape at the shoulders. So when it comes to like my thing, I did like after taking the slip out a little bit, so I like fixed it up with my hands, because yeah, it was hard. It barely came together. I think her binding tape is actually a bit thicker than mine. I'm not sure. I bought the only one that was available, so yeah. 12. Fold one of the ends towards the inside as shown in the picture below. I did that. 13. Clip the corners to eliminate bow. 14. Now fold your end in half lengthwise in the continuity of the bias tape and pin to form the ties. The length of the ties is really up to you. Ours are 18 inches 46 centimeters long. I think mine's shorter, unless she means like them combined, then maybe like similar length. But yeah, I think mine's shorter just because that's how much bias tape that I cut. 15. Start edge stitching the tie from the folded end and all the way around the neckline until you reach the other end. Repeat steps 12 to 14 and stitch the other end. Don't forget to press when you are done. And here I did this differently because I started sewing from the middle, and then I reached one end, and then I just came back to the middle, like and started sewing again towards the other edge. Like I just matched up the threads to like not leave a gap, and yeah, and then I just had more ends to hide, but I think that was the easier way. And also I didn't press. I'm not pressing. I'm sorry. I am lazy, and also I'm scared of my iron because it has a tendency of burning things because it's old, and it has a chewed up cable, and it like barely works, and it overheats, and like I'm not risking it. If I don't absolutely have to press, I'm not pressing. Alright, so this is where we're at now. As you can see, it's all nice and gathered, and it looks like it's something my size, so that's cool. I have very little bias tape, so I can't finish off the sleeves and the bottom part of it. I still do the little bow that was like in the pictures. I don't know if I want it to be a bow, like if I'm going to take a nice photo with the stars, I can also like just hide it in. But yeah, this is turning out good, I think. I might want to do the like TikTok thing I saw where people will do a little like corset thing on the back. Yeah, for now it's coming out good, I think. So ta-da! I'm proud of it, and I think it looks pretty. So I'm not going to change the shape now. I'm debating myself on whether I need to, or maybe if like I put on a skirt, it's going to get gathered around my waist anyway. Alright, and since I didn't have the bias tape, I just wanted to do the star parts, honestly, obviously for like the look, and I decided that I want to try to stamp them on, and I did the stamps the way I did the dog stamp, except smaller, and I ended up only using the two of them, the bigger ones, because the small one's tiny. And I bought some paint, and I really wanted to just buy silver fabric paint. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere. So I went into the store when I was at the mall, and the closest they have to like silver paint was this glitter fabric paint, and I was like, glitter? Like that sounds cool, but I don't trust it very much. So I did this test run trying to first like try to stamp it on, and it was like it did stamp somewhat, but it this glitter needs to be like applied like more heavily. And I also tried to like paint it on, and I also tried to first stamp on like a white base and then paint over the white base, and this was like the easiest way to get like my stars in the shape that I want. And I just ironed it just like the instruction said. And then I decided to test it, and I just put it in the sink, like rubbed it a bit, like I added some soap, and I should have just put it in the washing machine, but I wasn't doing any laundry at the moment, and yeah, I just wanted to test it out like right now, and I just left it in for like over an hour to go and see the results. And all the little pieces of glitter fell off. Like the loose ones, but the ones that I did paint on stayed, so that's good. And generally speaking, I think this like glitter paint is actually just some fabric paint mixed with glitter, so I think I overpainted it a bit, but like it does look nice. I just hope it doesn't wash off too quickly, and if it does, I still have a lot, but this process of painting was very, very meticulous, and just I don't want to have to repeat it if it washes out. In the end, I decided to use the first stamp on with white and then paint over, and I also added a lot of like these little dots. When it comes to like what I could have done as well, and what I planned to do, but it was again a bit too overwhelmed because the thing was taking a very long time to make already, because I didn't really have time for it, and I didn't really have the right tools, and I was very annoyed, and I didn't have like what I wanted. I wanted to also use the sequins and the stars like sew it on like in between the painted ones, and I might actually add them if it like partially washes out or something, like because I think it would look cool. I have this silver thread, so I could like literally just leave some thread visible like while going from one place to another, but I really want to have to like sit with it and hand stitch it. I think it could look cool, but with the amount of I added already, it would be too much, and I didn't leave the space for this, and I had to like do the glitter first because I didn't want to iron over sequins. So yeah, and if it washes off, I can still do it, but I hope it doesn't. um. Alright, so as you can see, I have this thing like partially painted already, but I didn't finish off the sleeves and the bottom part of it because I didn't have enough bias tape, but I now bought more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out how much I need for a sleeve. I'm keeping it into a bag, so don't judge me. And I'm going to start from the sleeves. And the whole thing I have to do is press it, like fold it in half, and then just pin it in place and sew it on. Right, let's take a bit more. Let's say this much. So this is actually, you know what? I'll just I'm just going to take the shortened one and cut it in half, I guess, because that's how much I'm going to need. And now for the longer strip. So this is going to be for both the sleeves. And the longer one, see, I knew I don't have enough, so I bought more. I didn't measure out and thought I can't do the cups, but I could have done them, so that's awkward. I'm just eyeballing it, honestly. At this point, I'm just going around. Oh, this thing is long. And a few centimeters more, and I'm going to say this much is what I need. Alright, so the way I'm going to do it, again, is folding a sheet of paper in half to have this nice little dent. And oh, my iron's ready, and now I wanted to grab the short one first. Just fold it like this, put it in here, and I'm going to just pull the other end. Actually, I think it's easier for me to pull with the left hand and hold the iron with the right hand. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to take this piece and take the shirt, and I'm going to, that's the shorter one, that's the one for the sleeves. I'm going to just cut it in half because I know it's a bit longer than needed for both of them. Like so. And I'm going to pin it so that it like keeps the sleeve in between the folds, while also folding it in, following the lines I drew. I'm going to cut off the excess once I'm finished sewing. I know there's quite a lot of it, but I don't like being restricted like that. Alright, so now my little sleeves are far from perfect because I had a really short bias tape to use here, so it didn't fold perfectly. I'm going to fix it later. But for now, when it comes to like finishing the threads that poke out, I always just take the outside ones, tie them together. To the same length, but still keep them short, but still keep them long, like so, and thread them together, and just poke them to the other side. Like so. Now there's 4 of them on the inside part, so I can tie all 4 of them together. And now I can just trim them really short and do the same thing on the other side. Alright, now I'm just going to do the same thing for the bottom with the longer strip of bias tape. Here I have one visible line actually, so that's helpful. Alright, and now it's time to finish off with the painting with glitter. I'm going to do it just like I did it here, except now I'm also going to use this biggest stamp. So there's going to be a few bigger stars here, and I'm going to do the sleeves, and I decided not to do the bottom because I'm going to put it inside like a dress, probably. I'll see, maybe if it looks bad without it, I'll add it at the end, but for now just the sleeves. So I just take some of that white paint, put it on a piece of paper. Now I can stamp it. Alright, and I even got myself a proper ironing stand. Now it's time to do the big ironing. I've got the shirt. Here it is. And I'm going to be ironing through baking paper because I don't want any glitter to stick to the iron and melt. And I also have my timer, so yeah, 5 minutes. The center, or actually, wait, I'm going to change it. 2 minutes, 30 seconds for front and for the back, and then same thing for both the sleeves. And let's go. Okay, and now that I have successfully ironed it and pressed it, it is wrinkly, so I'm going to turn it over and iron it again, this time to just make it straight. I don't want to iron the glitter, so it's going to be the wrong side out. And I still haven't cut out the excess, don't judge me. I'm going to do this eventually. It's just a boring part. Here it's how it looks all painted, just with pens, which is I think like casual enough to like wearing. And yeah, I really did not show you the back, did I? Yeah, and it's time to just make some small accessories that I came up with that I think would be wearable. Alright, and now it's time to do the necklace. I bought this porcelain mask for something else, but I'm going to use it for this as well. And the only relevant instruction that I found is that you might need to use some hand cream to keep your hands nice, so I'm going to put on some of so I'm going to use some of this yuppie one. Oops. Okay, I intended to do more of these, but it's honestly very tiring, and I've got 5, and this is going to be enough. I'm going to figure something else out, and for now, I'm just going to do a bit of a side quest to use up, and this time I'm going to use these colors because I'm curious about them. And I just want to do a little heart, so I'm going to put these away now. And I'm going to have some more fun. Alright, so here are my stars, and now I just need to connect them somehow. I planned to do more, but it was obnoxious, and also if I do too much, I think like it won't be very wearable because it will just look like too much. So yeah, no, this won't work. I have a different idea, I guess. Yes, professional looking one. This thing is to suck. These things come out, and I don't know how to secure them back, so I'll try to just here is that way. And the next step is a tiara. I haven't recorded the process properly because I set up my camera and I thought it's recording, but it turned out I just took a photo right at the start, and anyway I had to like do more because I tried it on and it was like not sufficient for me. I know what you might be thinking. A tiara is not casual. It's in no way casual, and I agree. I'm not going to wear it like daily. I'm not. I just really wanted it for the photo shoot, and I have a little sister who like is 9, and she likes playing dress up, so like now I have a tiara for her, so like it's not going to waste. What I did is like the classic method of like just taking some zip ties, putting them on an old headband, and like trimming them to the size. Usually people make like bigger ones, but I wanted to like a small ones. Again, I'm trying to like keep the illusion of this being casual, okay? And then people often like spray paint it, but I just bought silver acrylic paint, like quite a cheap one, and I painted like nice 2 coats of it because it was a bit see-through, and like yeah, that's way cleaner. And yeah, here it is. one last side quest, which is a video of its own. If you want to see it, you can. I just wanted to make something to cover my face with, so I made this little painting. Like, there is a video of it. You can go and watch it. I encourage you. It's a fast video. It's a simpler video. I didn't put that much effort into it, but still, you can go watch it. I just wanted to cover up my face for the like final result things, because I'm not ready for a face review, sorry. And here are the finished results. Here it is with the skirt. The skirt's a bit too big for me, and I usually just use a safety pin to like hold it at my waist like it's supposed to. But I don't have the safety pin here, so I'm trying to hold it with my hands. It looks awkward, I know, but it looks great when I have that safety pin. I love the skirt. I've had it for years. I bought it when I was like high schooler, and yeah, but just imagine the fabrics like gathering like it's supposed to. And I also wanted to like make this little aesthetic video like thingy with a nice colorful lamp and everything, and to like showcase the tiara as well. And also my hair changed. Haven't seen that? This thing took me so long to make that my hair just magically changed colors. Unbelievable. But yeah, I think that's all from me for now. I hope anything in this video is like in any way useful or entertaining or whatever reason you're here for. If you have any more ideas, like advice, what I could do, like what I could do in the future, and what I could do better, and anything, how was your day, any thoughts whatsoever, you can leave them in the comment section down below. And for now, just stay safe, stay hydrated, and peace.